Chair, you have a quorum physically present in the room, and there's also a member online.
Okay, thank you. And I will do roll call. And so I call the meeting to order. Please put away any cell phones that you have, or please turn them off. The roll call. Jeff Canberra. Present. Thank you. Yusef Herbert is absent. Andrea Dawson.
Present.
Good. Benjamin Scott.
Present.
Thank you. Jill Broadhurst is absent right now. She is supposed to be here. She's running late. We will, so at least right now, she's absent. Cole Sexton?
Yeah.
Thank you. Okay. The next agenda item is to approve this agenda.
No, wait a minute. Procedurally,
Yeah.
we just have to vote that it's okay for Benjamin Scott since he used the emergency.
Okay, let's clarify one thing.
Okay,
Mr. Palmer? Benjamin Scott is here in a remote. Would you refresh our memory about voting on a person that is attending remotely? So
Well, excuse me, in definition with good cause.
okay, so is a person remote with good cause? Does that require a vote of approval?
No, only the emergency circumstances require a vote of approval.
Okay, only a vote, just cause only requires him to claim just cause and explain it, right? And for just cause, does the person need to have published his location?
I don't think he needs to publish his location, and it doesn't need to be available to the public. It's just if he, if he wants to be in regular attendance, then you can agendize his location, post the agenda, make it available, make it open to the public, and then it's like he was here. But if he's using a exception, he just needs to say what it is.
Yes, okay. So with that clarification, Benjamin does not need to have published his location or to receive a vote of approval. So he's automatically present.
so may I say something?
Yes,
Yeah. So just a point of clarity, Benjamin, I really wanted you to be here and I'm happy you are. And I sitting on Oakland Unified, that's not, we just had that case on Monday night. And so I guess different legal views see it differently, but we just, just a matter, of course, we just had to say we agreed for you to attend remotely on just cause without your address being posted. And so I just thought that really was the regulation. So apologize to you, Benjamin.
All good.
I hope that this gets cleared up before this version of the Brown Act expires next year. So for right now, we're good to go and we will continue. And regarding the approval of the agenda, I want to move the Brown Act pledge to the last thing on the agenda so that we have plenty of time for Jill to show up because she might be stuck in traffic and she is supposed to be here. So with that correction, yes.
Wait, do you mean after facilities and before new business or after new business? When you say the last thing.
Thank you. That would be after facilities.
Thank you, sir.
So item number 6. This will go to between item number 10 and item number 11. So with that amendment, is there a motion to accept the agenda?
I'll make the motion.
Thank you. Is there a second? Thank you, Andrea. All in favor of accepting the agenda, approving the agenda with that amendment? Say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Hearing none, the agenda is approved. The agenda item number 3 is public comment. Is there anybody that wants to make a comment about a non-agenda item? Hearing none, we will move on to agenda item number 4. And that is approve the minutes from April the 10th, 2024. I mentioned that we did not approve them last meeting because we did not have a quorum for that purpose. I believe, I don't recall what the exact situation was with, there was some abstention and then we didn't have a quorum to approve the members or what, but here we are. And so is there a motion to approve the minutes from April the 10th?
Can I ask, was the correction made?
Oh. Do you want to answer or do you want me to answer?
Go ahead and answer.
So the item that was added was G, let's see. It's agenda item 6G was the addition. Everything else was
Yeah.
the same. It was just an additive change.
That's what I.
Would
that's what I
you
thought.
read that agenda item?
Mr. Palmer stated that the Peralta Community College District, CCD, does not have a Brown Act compliant complaint against the BMOC and has no intention of making such a complaint.
Yes, thank you.
So is the motion seconded to approve these minutes? I believe that Jeff made a motion to approve the minutes, correct, Jeff?
Mm-hmm.
And do I hear a second?
I will second.
Okay, Andrea seconded. All in favor of approving the minutes as they are written? Say
Aye.
Aye.
Aye, thank you. Moving on to agenda item number 5, approve the minutes from last meeting, which was May the 8th. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
I'll make the motion to approve the May 8th minute.
Second.
Okay, the minutes from May last month, right?
Yeah, this is May 8th.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask that question again, because I'm not sure exactly what you said. Is there a motion to approve the minutes from May the 8th last month?
I make that motion, yes.
Thank you. Is the motion seconded?
Second.
Thank you. All in favor of approving the minutes from last month, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Same.
Okay, and would you note that Andrea is abstaining? And that a majority of the members approved the minutes. So we're going to, for now, skip past agenda item number 6 and go to agenda item number 7, annual report of the subcommittee. Has a work in progress report. Cole, would you like to take that on?
Certainly. Mark, if you could, pull up those links that I, sent you earlier today, please. Yes, sir.
Oh, those,
You mean for them to you again?
this agenda item is the annual report, so I think it's the email that you sent on Friday.
Oh,
Not
that
mine.
one, yeah, not today.
Sorry.
Sorry, no, that's my fault. Forgot.
We're getting there, folks online. Sorry, bear with me. This is, by the way, the document that was linked in the minutes. I mean, in the agenda.
So, as everyone can see, last month I established a template. Thank you. I have not added too much to it, other than if we go to the final slide of the presentation. You know what? I added a lot to, wow, I am, excuse me. Thanks. That's a compliment to what I heard a couple hours ago. Thanks. I've added the compliance slide, so it essentially here, forgive my lack of knowledge in this, but I was told that this was a pertinent piece of information to add. Not going to read through it. Everyone can do that at their own leisure. As you can see, where Mark had cycled through some of the images that I took straight from, I believe what Mark and Sharon had provided. I added information as to progress, and there are links to accompanying videos and photos of the work being done at each one of the 4 campuses. Yeah, the Berkeley City College groundbreaking, I was there for that one, so there's there. So you might see that there is a lot of added fluff that needs to be taken out. Again, if any member of the board would like to assist in adding additional information, Mark Johnson's office also provided that slide that we just passed down to right there. Program cost update, just some of the numbers that were in the annual report. This is taken straight from Sharon Serrano's PowerPoint presentation. So again, if anyone here, this is all just a draft. Google Slides doesn't do a great job. It doesn't do watermarking at all. So can't watermark this, but yeah, just those additions to it. And once those have been input, the presentation of this deck will be ready for a presentation. So it's pretty cut and dry, straightforward. No fluff, no frill, no filler.
Very good. Quite impressed with your handiwork there.
Thank you.
Have you had any questions about sequence, about what should go first, what should go last, and things like that?
Those have come to mind, but again, if someone from the subcommittee wants to add that, or anybody from the BMOC wants to add that as far as presentation order, information that should be pertinent information that should be added coherent to the report, please let me know, and then I can add that in. So again, I can make it an open document. If someone wants to go in and add that themselves, they're more than free to do so.
Okay.
Mhm.
Andrew, you have the floor.
Oh, okay, so I'm, in red and inserted a page to the report, and I sent it to both you, Marcus, and Cole. And I think if you send it to Mark, he could actually put it up on the screen, and maybe it could be side by side, but I can walk through right now what I added.
Okay.
Okay. So on the cover sheet, I added the word citizens before bond measure oversight committee. Peralta Community College District Citizens Bond Measure Oversight Committee. That way it doesn't conflict with it being a bond measure oversight committee, but it clearly says it's the citizens, okay? So I added that one word to the front.
That sounds good.
Okay, so on the second sheet where it says,
Sorry, let me
On-
follow along. Just realized.
Yeah. well, you might get what I actually
I just-
sent, or did you just send it to you, but, okay, so on the second sheet, instead of, the old one, I think said an agenda, I think I saw that one or something, or maybe I put that on there. Anyway, crossed it out. I put contents of the report, which is basically content guide, that's the same thing, but I called it contents of report, okay? And then I measure A and G overview, committee membership, and then instead of achievements, I called it committee work, achievements and concerns. And then I put status of projects and funds, and then program administration update and BMOC compliance statement on bond fund expenditures, right on the second sheet, okay?
Yes.
And if Mark, if it comes through to you, you could actually, I sent this as a PDF.
Let me interrupt. Benjamin, can you hear Andrea okay?
I can hear her fine.
Oh, thank you.
All right, so then I added a sheet that is the bond measure A and G overview. And the first paragraph is why they require a citizens oversight committee. And this came out of the report from the year before last, and last year, I think it's in that one too, and it's one paragraph. And then I put a paragraph on measure G first, since it's the most recent one, on the major projects of measure G, and then a paragraph on measure A. And so you have the November 2018 bond and then the November 2006 bond to explain to everybody why we're a citizens bond oversight committee. And then the next sheet, I took and I marked it up and cut and paste literally, but I put all the current membership and membership at the time of the writing of the report side by side of each other. So it only takes up one page. And then the next page is committee work, achievements and concerns. And I bullet pointed website relaunch with improvements of having, and then I put 1, 2, 3, like we could write the improvements. I didn't write them, but we could write those improvements.
Sorry to interrupt. The PDF didn't come through when you forwarded the email, so I don't have it.
Oh,
it didn't send the attachment?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, my apologies.
so then I put added membership update report as a standing agenda item, because we did do that in the previous year to this. I went back and looked. We had asked Mark to add it, and he added it to give us a report on basically recruiting, right? Then I put, we welcome new member Jill Broadhurst. She was the one new member in that year. And then I put an area of concern, committee vacancies not being filled by Peralta board in a timely manner. Then the next, area of concern, I put committee members, attending in person. And then I put in parentheses, leading to not having an in-person forum, thus leading to canceling meetings, because we canceled 3 meetings in the previous year because we had members that didn't attend. And so, you know, we had 6 members, but we didn't have an in-person
Yeah, I
forum.
think that is the biggest problem that we have.
People attending in person.
We don't have an active, roster. So we haven't had 7 people and we don't have the people attending in person. So a combination of those, waste everybody else's time.
Yeah, well, anyway, I'm just saying that's an area of concern, so
Yeah.
that, then the next slide that I propose is that, Measure A project financial status, that it goes into more detail of just more than the project cost update, it's actually the financial status of, it's a different slide, it shows the projects, and it shows where they are in time at the end of this fiscal year. Okay, that's what I would propose for this sheet. And then measured.
Can I think I know what you're getting at. Sharon has a slide that shows all of the different projects.
Right.
And then it kind of has a progress like
Right.
status,
Right,
as a bar graph. Is that kind of what you're envisioning here?
well, something like that, yeah, so I think so. I mean, that would be what I would propose for these 2 slides. And then I would go to the project.
And when she showed that gave me a lot of confidence that construction projects are being well managed. So, yes, we should need to incorporate that, maybe need to simplify it or something, maybe make prettier colors or whatever, but I think that is really important.
Oh, okay, so you've got it up now, so, yeah.
Yeah.
So then the next sheet,
Sharon's on the line, by the way. Oh,
Oh.
and by the way, Jill is on the line, I see.
oh,
Sorry, I've been online for about 15 minutes. I'm just stuck in traffic right now.
ah. So, and then the next sheet would be the status of funds that Cole, you had put in the report. Okay, and then I've got the Merritt College, College of Alameda, Laney College, district-wide needs to be filled in. And then Berkeley City College, I left until last because I feel like there needs to be an edit below it. It needs to say the status of what it was at the end of the fiscal year that we're reporting on. And then, you know, there's a statement about that because this is the groundbreaking that just happened. And so I feel like it should still be there. So, because it ties back to what's happening and Sharon's slide, you know, when the slide gets in here on what's happening on Measure G at all the colleges, but it's really didn't happen. This groundbreaking didn't happen in the financial year that we're reporting on. Okay. Does that make sense?
So.
We're in arrears 1 year.
Yeah,
You know that.
Yeah,
Okay.
no, I get that, so we're
I'm just-
proposing just to change that slide.
No, I know, I want this, I think the slide is fine, I just think there needs to be a statement here about the status in the fiscal year.
Oh, yeah, okay,
2023.
yeah, no,
So it was in the planning stage,
Oh, okay,
you know what I'm
gotcha.
saying,
Yep,
that it was in design and, you know, a paragraph about it, right?
Yeah.
Come on.
To the chair. Is it,
Yes,
I think that makes sense and there's a precedent for that in the annual reports that this committee has provided previously. They were always kind of a snapshot of the fiscal year that was being reported on, but there were always a section of what's happening more recently, you know? So I get what you're saying.
Right, and so I'm actually, in going back to what you're saying is that, I feel like, there could be split, pictures, particularly on Merritt, because what the progress, where it was when we had the groundbreaking and where it is today, you know, there could be more than one picture maybe on some of these slides, a smaller one. I'm not sure, but I mean, basically, some of them started and they're further along now, so, yeah.
I mean, yes, there are like certain photos that people want, and then just keep in mind for the sake of resolution, you don't want to crowd the slide. That's just from
Yeah.
a design standpoint. So,
Yeah,
yeah, whatever photo suggestions you want to show there,
Well,
like.
it's only a
One
suggestion.
interruption
Yeah,
here.
okay.
Yeah.
Can the people that are remotely attending hear what Cole is saying?
We can hear him great.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, so I'm pretty old and my hearing's not so good, so I'm particularly concerned about people being able to hear. So, thank you. Continue.
So, and then, you know, the administration update, I think is important, but I called it the program administration update just because it speaks to our program and that the current chancellor is directly overseeing it, and we have Amy and BC here also that are assisting, so I think this is a really good slide to have. And then the compliance slide, and I would, rather than just calling it compliance, I would just call it the statement. of compliance. So you'll see that I left or combined a few pages out. There was one in the old slide deck that is basically, I feel like it's a repeat of the cover sheet. It's after membership. But it starts again, and I thought that was redundant. So those are my suggestions.
Thank you. Those are, we appreciate that. Yeah.
So I mean, other, you know, folks I think could make other input, you know, or, you know, think on it.
Is there anybody else on the committee that wants to say something about this? Not that I'm cutting you off, I just want
No,
to
it's
give an
fine.
opportunity.
No, it's fine.
Okay,
I think this is good. A good clarification.
okay, thank you. Okay, Andrew, is there anything else you want to say about this?
No, I think that, it's a short, concise report and, you know, it says what it needs to say. That's the bottom line. You know, it tells what our work was and no, actually there is one other thing that I realized that I felt like should be in here. And that should be a statement about the auditor's report. I think it's not in here. And I don't think it was in the original one. And I feel like that we should tell when the auditor presented to us and who the auditor was. And it should be in this report.
Okay,
Okay, and so, and a link to it, and so I would propose that be another bullet point in here.
We had those links to the audit reports in the past.
Right, right, and I also think that if we write a paragraph about it, you know, that the auditor was ABC auditor, and they presented at this time, and they presented the performance report and the financial report, and that audit found the district in full compliance. It's in our statement of compliance, but I just don't feel like it quite says it all right there. I feel like we need another paragraph, and it could go on this sheet right here, saying when it was presented to us, and we therefore find them in compliance. So.
okay. So, Cole, how about if you give me and Jeff a call as soon as you're ready to share points of view about this. You know,
Oh, yeah.
so you have a little bit of stuff to incorporate And then, you're going to, be ready for some feedback or some opinions or some help or whatever.
Mhm.
So as soon as you're ready, let us know, okay?
Yeah, I can do that. Like I said, I mean, I can take everything that Andrea put out here, and like I said, I can make it an open document if anybody wants to say something. So, but I can use this as a start point and then just add to what's already there. I'll coordinate with you and Jeff, and we'll at some point this month, and it should be ready for time for for further review before we present.
Excellent,
Gotcha.
thank you. Are there any other comments on this agenda item? Hearing none, we'll move on to the next agenda item, which is the web subcommittee. And Cole and I did meet a week or two ago. Jeff wasn't able to meet with us, but what we're working on is the model for the categories chart for members. And I long believed that the simplistic category chart is not keeping as good a track on important events as it should. So that's why I'm trying to upgrade the category chart to more columns with more information. So Cole and I did make some progress on that. And apparently he emailed me something today. So I'll have to look at it when I get back, and we'll schedule another meeting and make some more progress. So several times I have suggested a model, and I don't think I've been clear enough. And so Cole and I are working back and forth so that we can either clarify what I am envisioning or modify what I'm envisioning.
Yeah, excuse me, Chair.
Yes.
So why don't we go ahead and take a look now? Mark has it. If it's okay.
Yeah, I'd like to see it now, because I actually think the website's pretty good like it is. And so I'd like to see what, there's always can be improvements, but I've looked at a lot of websites. And I think it's pretty easy to find what you need. So I'm interested in how it can be tweaked.
Yeah, it's just a prototype. Like I said last month, I'm just trying to marry what is currently in place with Marcus's vision, and while not one infringing too greatly upon the other. Yeah. So, okay, so that, yes, that, but no to showing as it is right now. That made no sense. I really need to lay down, but seriously, the Figma links that I sent you, yeah, if you open those up, so you can open up the desktop or the mobile one. All right, so for the uninitiated, that's what's called prototype. And you'll see this is what it'll look like when you open your phone. So if you open up that web page using that link to the PCCD site, members, blah, 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 excuse me, sorry. You'll see how it looks in that mode. So now, Mark, if you click on the active link right next to the spreadsheet, so imagine you're moving your finger, thumb or index finger over that, and then it's gonna take you, just say, yeah, I'll have all your credit card information. No, I'm kidding. Just click that link in the center of the page to just say it's taking you to an external site. So there it goes. that is the idea of what I think that you wanted. Could be wrong. Let's hear. No.
Well, that is okay for 3 columns.
Oh, well, there's 6 there.
There's 6, I didn't see 6 columns.
Well, it's, yeah, so if we go, so now if, yeah, you go all the way over, I just went ahead, these are all just dummy columns. But if you go all the way over, Mark, to column 1, row 1, so it'll, obviously you'll put in, so it's member and category.
Yeah.
But if you put in, member name, organization,
Yeah.
and the ed code, and then you scroll all the way down, you'll see that there is 6. So, and with that, guess what? It's an Excel spreadsheet, essentially. You can expand them or minimize them as much as you want. The size plays just like an accordion
I see.
without the sound.
So, regarding the, ed code category,
Uh-huh.
I suppose that, rather than taking up a lot of space, like the, education, one, it could start out by saying something and then ... and first clicks on it, then it expands that into to the statement of the ed code A1.
So you want to link to the actual ed code?
I don't know.
Okay.
I was thinking that by a person, let's say a person's name might be 20 spaces wide. I don't know.
That is a long name.
Okay.
Gotcha.
So I don't know. So
Yeah,
let's say
but no, I
15
understand, yeah.
15 spaces. But the description of ed code 15.
So 15282A1.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so actually, that would be not the right ed code number 9. Maybe it is.
I took from the document that you shared with,
Okay.
with Mark, so
Okay,
that's why I
so-
copied that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that would be A1. And so I would like it to describe what that category is, so that a person reading it says, oh, okay, A1, that's a member of the business organization or whatever it happens to be, so that they understand that it's not just a number, but it's a description.
I see what you're getting at. So let's just say you have a member of taxpayers.
Yeah,
Or,
so
yeah,
let's say
taxpayers. So right below that, you're saying you want like a block of text that explains that organization.
No, not
No?
explains the organization. One that actually repeats the category in the statute so that a person understands. For example, one of the problems that I've run across is a business organization.
Gotcha.
And a person says, oh, I'm a member of a business, and I want the person that's reading this realize that, no, it's not, you're a member of a business. You're a member of an organization representing businesses.
Oh, okay, like a representative of a chamber of commerce or
Exactly.
something
So
like
we
that.
don't have to give examples, but I'd like to state what the statement of the category is.
Okay, so I'll say this, if you could, go ahead.
And if it requires a couple of more lines below that, that's okay with me.
Understood. So could you provide me
Yes.
with those ed codes?
Yeah.
And then I can add those into this. And where do you see those going?
Okay.
Like what their positioning as you see it right now is,
Well,
what am I looking at?
The end code.
Okay, but okay, so I'm looking at the ed code and I see it, but he's saying that there's an explanation. So I'm asking, where's that explanation go? on
okay,
this?
I will work with you on that.
Okay,
We
all right,
don't have to take up. the
Right,
meeting with
okay,
that.
yep,
And then the other thing is the heading of date of appointment.
Oh, okay, that would have been, see,
Yeah.
that would have been,
Yeah,
so That's, I wish you could edit it, but I get what you're saying. Okay.
And the words of date of appointment is way too wide of a column. I would say, date, and it might even be a stacked, term. Date of second, space, third space, APT or something like that, because we don't really want, the category to stretch on, for 150 spaces.
Okay,
Yeah.
I was just, moving off of, like, I'll confer with you, I'll send
Okay.
you this, I was just going off, because it sounded like, you wanted like full banner length.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In spreadsheets, we can also do word wrap.
Just a second. I need to read your lips ahead.
In a spreadsheet, we can also do a word wrap. So it would say date of appointment. That way it shrinks down.
Great, uh-huh.
Again,
Yeah.
it's just a design thing, so, yeah, all right, so that's that as it stands right now with the understanding that I had in place at that time.
Okay. All right, thank you for your work and diligence and your patience.
No,
Yes, Mark?
I really want to, express gratitude to Cole, for working on this mock-up of what the table would be, because this is really just what we need. It is, your vision for how the membership is laid out. Once we have that, we can create the document and share it.
That's right. We'll be there forever or for as long as the bonds go on. And it'll just be change a few names.
Yeah.
But I do want it to be self-explanatory to the casual observer.
gotcha.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Are there any other comments on, agenda item number 8? Hearing none?
I'm not sure if it's applicable, but is there a way of making sure that the link is up to date on the website? Because if anybody from the public wanted to be on tonight, I'm not sure how they would have been able to.
Yeah, there is, essentially, I would just, me or whomever, I would just relinquish, ownership of that document to Mark. And then he can, turn on and off the permissions, as in who can edit and who can view it. So it would be a living document, totally safe. Nobody would be able to tamper with it except for the admin or whoever Mark decides to delegate that to.
Benjamin, was that the answer to your question?
Yes,
I thought you were asking a little bit different question than that.
I think there's that, but also just making sure that the links are updated to attend the meetings.
Oh, right, so, yeah, okay.
Yeah,
Thank you.
point taken.
Okay, so Mark, is the link, current on, the link to the meetings?
I had to create a new meeting somehow. The old meeting got deleted, which is why everybody had hit that wall, of no longer being valid. Amy had asked a question and I had gone in and checked the status to make sure that it was an repeating meeting, and it seemed fine. But tonight, when everybody tried to log in, we got an error message.
I see.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that is, that's a, different question than,
Yeah.
Cole was answering.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yep. Sorry about that, Ben, my bad.
It's just further clarification, which is fine.
Thank you, Ben. Thank you, Mark. Any other comments or questions regarding the website? Hearing none. We move on to agenda item number 9, and that is the
Work plan up.
okay, Andrea Dawson's work plan.
So it hasn't changed from last month. So, but we didn't have Ben and Jill. And it's a plan. It's not, it can change. So, and so suggestions of what might be added. And one of the things is that was recommended actually by John Palmer, legal counsel, is that we might follow the reporting cadence of the district in the expenditures and the updates. And so we might add those times to the work plan. And so if you have, so in other words, we might get one in October and February and April is what I would propose. And the reason, and I'd like to hear staff's thinking on this, since we have them here. And the reason is because April is really when we start to talk about writing the report. So that would be the third time that we got the latest and greatest on the project and expenditure updates. So it would be 3 times a year. And, I have not changed having my proposal of having no meetings in the summer, which is July and August, and December and January, because I feel like we could accomplish everything in this work plan in 8 meetings a year.
Okay. Are there any other comments regarding Andrea's work plan? Well, I have a comment that doesn't show up here. And that is that one of the items that could be on this work plan is receiving the draft annual reports at the same time that the district receives the draft annual reports. So the district receives them in, I don't know what month that they receive them, but certainly no later than the end of December. And I think that even though that there is going to be a final annual report, the ed code says that we receive the annual reports the same time the district does. It doesn't distinguish between whether it's a draft or a final. So we ought to receive the draft at the same time the district does, and it should be on here someplace.
Can I just say, I think you're talking about the financial performance report, not
Yes.
the annual report.
Yes,
You're talking
it's
about the financial.
the
and-
annual
And,
financial audits.
and the ed code does say that we get an honor before March 31st and at the same time as the district. And so what I hear you proposing is that whenever they send a draft to, if they send a draft to facilities, then that we should be notified that they're sending a draft and we get that draft too.
Well, I have a little bit different opinion than that. And that is not when they send the annual audit draft audits to the district might not send them to facilities. I'm saying that when the district receives draft annual audits, we ought to receive draft annual audits. The ed code says that we receive the annual audits at the same time that the district does, no later than July the 30th.
No, it's March 31st.
Excuse me, March 30th.
Yeah.
But there are 2 different sets. And the ed code doesn't distinguish between the 2 different sets. It applies to all sets.
So how would you, okay. I mean, that would have to be something that got put forward. If there is such a thing as a draft. I mean, I don't know what constitutes a draft because the way these financial and performance audits work actually is, the auditors come into the district and they meet with internal stakeholders. And they basically say, where are your files? And they go into the files and they call the files and they take, samples, they take a certain percentage, okay? And then they audit them, and then they come back to the district and they say, what happened here? We don't understand exactly what this transaction, what is meant by this transaction, and why was this change order written this way, blah, blah, blah. And the district responds to the auditor, and the auditor, it's either to their satisfaction or not. That's how they define to a district if they're have a minor out of compliance or a major out of compliance for that fact. But they don't actually draft it up that I'm aware of. And then, because I've actually been on Oakland Unified's committee to hire the auditors. So I've studied what it takes and I know what it takes sitting inside what San Francisco Unified when the auditors come in. They come to my desk and say, I want to ask you about this change order. Okay, so I'm not sure what that draft is that you're talking about, because I'm not sure that there's actually what most of us would think of as a draft, on the financial and performance, because they're supposed to be independent. They're outside auditors that are supposed to, they have their licenses at stake, okay?
We need to clarify that. The question for me came up in January when Mark said something like, great, good news. The annual audits gave us a good bill of health or something to that effect. And I said, well, where's our copy? And he says, oh, well, the final hasn't been done yet. So we're not giving it to you because we're waiting for the final. Well, that indicates that there is a draft and there is a final. So whenever the district receives a preliminary, whatever we want to call it, preliminary, anything earlier than final, we should get a copy of it. Yes, it's all for our benefit, and so at least we need to explore it and find out what's possible and what's impossible. We've never done that. John, you've got the floor.
Thanks. The auditors do provide a draft of the audit of the annual financial and performance audits, but the draft is provided to staff to make sure that there are no factual inaccuracies. And so staff reviews it, they go, okay, like, this all looks right. And then they go, okay, this is the final one, and it goes to the board, and then the board votes to accept it.
That actually comes to us before it goes.
Well, so the final report, the point is that the point of the draft is not that it's ready for prime time. It's just a fact checking period to make sure that like none of the numbers or wires got crossed. And so I'm not sure what value it would be to this committee to review it because it's not ready yet. And the auditor wants to make sure that they have the district sign off on all the facts before they release it into the world.
I understand that. I understand Andrea. I have talked this topic over with CPAs that are associated with Alameda County Taxpayer Association. And occasionally it is done the way I'm saying, that the Oversight Committee the Bond Oversight Committee received a copy of the earlier draft. And like I said, the reason that it even came up to my attention is that Mark said, oh, we've got a clean bill of health. Well, if we got a clean bill of health, then that means we've got something to look at then, rather than on March the 30th. And we could get started on our annual reports sooner if we wanted to. Yes, Mark, you have the floor.
I just want to make sure I'm following the conversation correctly, and that I'm a little concerned that we may be using draft in a couple of different contexts. And I want to clarify, preliminary, final, or, final but not yet approved by the board, versus a draft. And I think what John was saying, the draft is not ready for prime time yet. I would be concerned about, sharing that out because it's not ready for prime time. Like the final version, when it is still preliminary, i.e. not yet presented to the Board of Trustees and approved and accepted, I think that's fair game, right? Am I interpreting that correctly? So I just wanted to make sure that, draft is a very specific thing, and those typically aren't shared out publicly because they are works in progress.
Well, and I would add that it would be.
Just a second, you don't have the floor yet. So is there anything?
No, I'm done.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So one of the things I certainly learned on this committee is that I have to choose my words carefully, and there is a difference between draft and preliminary, and there's probably some other fancy words that go in there, but we need to explore that.
Yeah.
Now, John, you have the floor.
And I guess that to your point, were you to use a draft to begin work, and were the draft to contain one or more errors, it could send you down the wrong path. And so I think that it would make sense to wait until there is an audit that is final. The auditors have deemed final, right? They've given the district a chance to correct anything that the district needs to correct for you to start your work. Because at that point, it's not going to change.
Because
John, that's probably wise, and probably whenever the auditors present a final annual audits to the board, even if that is early January, I think that we should receive it at the same time the board does. And the deadline of March the 30th is a deadline. So it's not the ideal, it's the deadline.
yes, I think there's no argument on that. We should receive it at the same time that the district does, but I come back to this word draft, I call it a working document because.
Let me
What?
withdraw the word draft.
Yeah, it's a working document because Cole came with a working document. We're still working on this document here. So it's not for public consumption the way it is right now, okay? So I think we're all saying the same thing, but I've forgotten, didn't we get the annual report at the same time? Like it was,
We sent it to you all in December.
yeah, exactly. We got it in December. We just didn't get the presentation from the auditor to this committee. We got it at the same time that it was distributed to the district.
Well, if that's the case, my memory is faulty in more ways than one, and I stand corrected. So that would, I'm happy that we already have a system that complies with what I was asking.
To be fair, the district has received those reports later in previous years. But this was our second year with CDWL and or CDL, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
there's a C there and a W and a D and an F. Anyhow, this is the second year that we had worked with this independent audit firm, and the processes were a little bit more efficient going through it a second time, and so we got it in December and we shared it out with you then.
Thank you. So, all right, well, then I'll be on my toes at the end of the year, saying what the situation is, and we don't really need to add that to Andrea's work plan then. Okay, or is there anything else that someone wants to say on Andrea's work plan? Okay, hearing nothing.
Well, I'd like to have the conversation again about the need for having 12 meetings a year versus 8, and instead knowing that we could add a meeting if we had to. So, because I went back to, like, we started that conversation of potentially only having 8 meetings a year 2 years ago. And you said we all agreed to the 12. Well, actually, we didn't, it was an agreement at the time to table it, but it's not like we can't have that conversation again, because I'd like to hear from other members if they feel like we need a meeting every month of the year. So, particularly the winter break, I mean, and one month of the summer. I mean, I think, 1 month of the summer when staff is absolutely the busiest with construction, it's the busiest time of the year for them to do due diligence, to come to this committee and report to us if we're gonna have reports. And December and January, we often don't get the kind of participation we should, and it's just, it's the holidays, and so it's.
Ooh.
Well, here is my opinion about that. We need to have the July meeting because we're supposed to elect a chairperson and a vice chairperson in July. So we should always have a July meeting, schedule a July meeting. As far as next August and next December, I think the members of the next committee should decide for them. I don't think that we should decide for the future set of members what they shall do.
Well, the future set of members is going to be most of the members that are here now.
Well, maybe mostly, but not all.
True.
So we should take this up in July.
So you're just saying take it up next month? Yeah,
As an
okay.
action item.
Yeah, well, that's, I mean,
No,
as an action
I'm-
item, yes.
I think that in July, we should discuss it. I don't think that we're in the position of imposing an action item on the next group of members.
We,
So,
well,
so
you
there-
can discuss and act at the same meeting. So, I mean,
Which is typically what's done.
yeah,
Well-
so I don't understand why we couldn't do that next month, but
Okay.
you can think on it.
well, I can think on it. And I am not going to impose an action item on the next set of members. The next set of members can decide their own action item. So is there anything more to say on that? Okay. And moving on, the facilities master plan. Last meeting, I brought up facilities master plan, and I thought that there would be a person here to discuss with us what the facilities master plan is, what it's supposed to be, and is there a person here to represent the district regarding facilities master plan?
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
No.
So then we will move to agenda item number 10, facilities master plan. I'll just, yes, okay. My concern is that in all districts, there is a term called facilities master plan. When I look at our website, it looks like there is plural, facilities master plans. There is this plan over here, and plan for the students, and plan for Peralta, and plan for Merritt, and or whatever. And I would like to see, it looks like that the plan is consolidated to at least, if I looked at the website and say, oh, they're building this building, such and such building, in Alameda Community College, what is where's the next batch of money going? So if I just look at Alameda, I can say, oh yeah, well, the next batch of money going in Alameda is this other thing, but how does that compare to the next batch of money at Laney? So I think that there should be a facilities master plan, something that I can see what is coming on the horizon from the bond next, and after that also. And I don't get that from the existing website. So therefore, please educate me.
Well,
Yeah, Mark, you have the floor.
I'm gonna take a first pass,
Yeah,
and
go ahead.
then I'm gonna turn it over and let my colleagues from Department of General Services, carry it across the finish line.
Hopefully.
But to get started, let me share screen here. Everybody see the strategic plan homepage. So we have, Mr. Crawley is correct. We have a number of different plans at the district. And I think it's good for this group to understand the planning process and the way that we work. So I'm going to scroll down on the strategic plan page, which is peralta.edu/strategic-plan. If you search strategic plans, it's one of the top hits on the website. It all starts with the education master plans, right? This is how we educate students. It's the plan that we work on with the colleges, with faculty members, with the classified professionals. And the decision was made a year ago that rather than having a district plan that then gets funneled down to the colleges is where the action happens. Colleges is where the instruction happens. So we start with the educational master plans at the colleges. And we just did that exercise to update our educational master plans. And the links to each of the college educational master plans, which the Board of Trustees approved in 2023, are posted here on the website.
It doesn't involve any expenditures. That's just education.
Well, I mean, we worked with some consultants to write the plans, so.
Right, yeah.
A little bit, but that is centering how we educate students. Those individual educational master plans were then used to inform our district strategic plan. So we also, as we concluded the educational master plan, all of the information that came from the colleges floated upstream to the district and said, this is how the district is going to support the 4 colleges in how they provide the instructions to the students. So we created our district strategic plan. The district strategic plan and those educational master plans are then what informs our technology plan and our facilities plan. And we have a technology plan that was updated a bit more recently. And you can see that that goes through 2026. That's going to need to be revised pretty soon, based on the new education master plans and the new district strategic plan. And then finally, we have the district facilities plan, which, to your point, that I mean, it is posted, but it is from 2017. So it's time for us to revise our facilities plan, which we can now do because we've updated our educational master plans and our district strategic plan. So now we know how we're going to teach the students. We know what facilities we need in order for us to accommodate those modalities of instruction. That's going to inform our new facilities plan. So, so we will be working on our new facilities plan. One of the key people in how we build out our facilities plan is our new chief operating officer. We're in the process of hiring a new COO right now. In fact, we had public forums for the finalists. We have 3 really outstanding finalists for the COO on Monday. Community feedback is due tonight at midnight. If you haven't sent Chancellor Gilchrist your comments on the 3 finalists, you've got about 3 hours and 10 minutes to get your feedback in. But she'll be deciding on who she wants to hire as her COO, and that person is really going to be the point person as we create our new facilities master plan. One last thing before I turn it over to BC. You'll notice the timing. The last facilities master plan is dated from 2017. That document informed our bond that voters approved in 2018. So, you know, that's where we decided, oh, we need a building for this. We need a new building for automotive technologies at College of Alameda. We need a new facility for additional instruction in Berkeley. You know, so the next facilities master plan needs to be written, and that we think will help inform our next fall.
And do you mind just clicking on the link just on the master?
Yeah,
plan?
and just know, I know that there's 2 there. One is just the summary because the major document is 150 something pages long. So the first one is, you know, for the layman who wants to go in and just see at an overview what the district's going to be doing, which I think is maybe 20 pages. And then you have the secondary one, which is the actual facility master plan.
18 pages.
Oh, 18 pages, thank you.
For the summary. And then the complete plan is a lot of pages.
Yep.
And correct me if I'm
150
wrong,
pages.
but you have to have a master plan to go out for a bond if you want to get state money. So, you know, it oftentimes master plans, even though it's nice to do them every 5 years, they follow actually when districts go out for bonds.
Right, and just to pack on to that before BC goes, the facilities master plan was a plan that was basically 5 years with stretch goals after that, right? And this, the bond spending plan that Karen Serrano, that beautiful worksheet, right, that has the spending on what's next, right, what the phases are. And so this building is done at Alameda, then it shows what's happening next, right? And then but we do the 5-year capital outlay that continuously build upon supporting the facilities master plan. So the buildings that were planned and prioritized in the bond. Then we keep that updated with the capital outlay plan that also continues to support all of this work. So it's a big circle, and the cycle of this, and BC will talk about our next going out for our facilities master plan, because we have to go out for services. We have to go out to bid for that. So.
Right. And so during the course of this past year, we had an external consulting group come in, and they did a facility assessment, right? It's part of, once we go through the strategic plan to ed plan and getting down through there, now we have to marry together where our facilities are currently, and then what the district's direction is for the student life, right? So now that assessment is done, which I have, I don't know how many, it's, I think, over 1,200 pages reports on every facility that we own as a district. That then gets married into when we go out for this facility master plan. And so all those things are gonna happen, this new fiscal year.
So here is my response. Like I said last time, I've really never even looked at the website, facilities master plan. It only occurred to me after seeing various bonds that referred to facilities master plan.
Mhm.
And when I looked at it, I thought, this is not what I expect. And furthermore, it looks like we're dealing with the facilities master plan as year 2017, which was a year before the Measure G bond. So I would think that we would have more current information than that. And furthermore, like I repeat, I'm a member of the Alameda County Taxpayer Association, so I'm particularly keen on what are taxpayers paying. And so they're paying on one set of bonds, yeah, so that's just a couple $100 a year. And then the next set of bonds, which is going to also go another 30, 40 years, and that's only going to be another $100. And you guys are planning bonds for unforeseeable future, and each time we're just going to add on to the taxpayer another $100 a year. I'm looking at, is there a light at the end of the tunnel? So that is certainly one of the things that I'm studying.
Yeah, I understand that completely. I think in the big scheme of it, it would, if 2017 happened and occurred, we didn't go back and look at the district's strategic plan.
We did. So
No,
can
what
I
I'm
jump
saying
in
is,
here?
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, so just so that you know, the plan was completed in 2017. I think it was approved in early 2018.
March.
Right, so it was approved and it was a 5-year plan, right? When the master plans are done, so it really just the length of it just passed, right?
Right.
So we are now working on that. And to the short answer is, this is a bond program. So there is no light at the end of the tunnel. We are always in the process. So when one bond ends, then we evaluate. Sometimes it's local bonds, sometimes it's state bonds. It just depends on the needs of the district, and the educational plan. So it's a constant cycle. And so one bond, it's just like the gasoline tax or the road tax or right?
Well, that is my concern. That is a constant circle, that the taxpayers have unlimited deep pockets. And you guys just think up a new thing and we'll add it to we just go into the deep pockets.
Right.
That is a concern. I'm not saying that I cannot be educated, but I'm just saying that that's for the taxpayers. Taxpayers want to know stuff like this.
And I think part of it, realizing that these facilities need to, as we're looking at the educational plan, and I think this is a great example, is when we were hit with COVID-19, how many of our classes were ready for that type of modality to be able to meet online, hybrid, any of those type of settings. So these facility master plans, that's part of the reason why we have to do it every 5 years. It's not like this 2017 one is a fixture that's going to be permanent. We have to update it based on where we are currently, right? But
I'm going to make a point, and then John has had his hand up for a while. Remember, what we do is we help create a workforce, for a really strong workforce for the people who live in our community. And so, the bond has helped create facilities for automotive technology. Almost everybody that works at a dealership in the East Bay has gone to College of Alameda. We created
aviation.
Aviation facility. You go to any of the big airports in the area, and it's people that are getting the education here. So, I mean, my point is that the workforce needs are constantly changing.
Mhm.
And so as education providers, we always have to understand what the needs of our community is so that we can educate people appropriately so they can get good paying jobs and help us live our best lives. John,
So,
that's,
John, you have the floor.
Thanks. I was just gonna say two things. One is, like, if we think about home ownership, right? Or at least I'm constantly putting money into my house, right? And some of it I can just pay out of pocket, and other stuff's so big, I gotta finance it. And that's kind of like owning a school facility on a very small level. Like, there's some maintenance that you can pay on a pay-go basis, and then there's other bigger stuff that is constantly breaking that you need to fix and you need to finance it. So that's one thing. And then the second thing is that I think that the districts in, the Bay Area and throughout California are sensitive to the issue that you're bringing up. And I think that a lot of them are trying to think about a combined tax rate target so that that your all-in cost for the district is going to be about the same every year, right? And so there's not going to be a year where you don't pay anything, but the district's not constantly going to be adding on and adding on and adding on. It's just going to be like, $200 a year forever. And then that money will help with the capital maintenance and with the investment in the plant to address future needs.
Well, you addressed one of my problems, and that is keep adding on and on and on. And if we have a bond A, and it's going for 40 years, and let's say it's only 2/3 the way done, and then we add on measure G, and then that's just starting. And then in 3 years from now, we add on measure Z, and that's just going to be 40 years. We are just adding on and on and on. And even though the houses are inflating in price, the taxpayers' income is not necessarily inflating in price to keep up with the glorious vision of our local college.
So.
So,
in conservation of time, I'll just for the one say. So we can, wrap this.
okay.
Yeah.
So anyway, I've said my concerns. We have given me enough information so that I am a little bit more understanding and know how to interpret what I see on the website.
May I make one
And
more suggestion?
just a second, John. So if nobody else has anything to say, I'm going to let John say what he has to say.
I know that you do work with the Taxpayers Association, and one thing that you might consider is asking the state legislature for an exemption for people who are low income or seniors, like there are for parcel taxes. Right now, statutorily, there's not an exemption provision for bonds. But as you say, people who are on a fixed income are sensitive to increases in their property taxes. And if you got that kind of exemption language, I think that districts would take advantage of it. It might provide some relief to people who are on constrained or fixed incomes.
Right. Well, so far, nobody in the legislature gives a hoot about what I think. So if we ever get to that point, I'll be happy to suggest that. Okay, is there any more questions or comments on this agenda item? Okay, then moving to the next agenda item, which is the Brown Act pledge letter that we received from John Palmer. This is an action item. Is there a motion to vote on this action item? Jeff?
So before we do this, I think we need to qualify Jill as a voting member, or otherwise we wind up in another Brown Act issue.
Thank you. I was depending on, John to, keep us out of the weeds.
Well, since I have a little experience, I figured it was good to make
Okay.
sure we do
So-
that.
Jill, is present. She.
Yep.
And, I take it that she is present, remotely because of an emergency. Is that correct, Jill?
Yep, I am.
She had to take somebody to the airport and she couldn't get here in time. But she did intend to be here on time in person. So, John, does that mean that we should now vote on whether Jill's emergency, we accept her presence?
Well, I think that the emergency exception is only for personal or family medical emergencies. And so, you know, I'm not sure that getting stuck in traffic qualifies, but you know.
Okay, so then the next question is that a just cause for being stuck in traffic?
Well, you know, I think you have the exceptions or the sort of things that constitute just cause in front of you. You know, I'm not sure that any of these fit in, but you know, I don't know why she was going to the airport. I mean, you know, if she was going to the airport, you know, to take a parent to the airport because they couldn't drive themselves, then maybe it fits in exception number one.
So with that situation, is it possible for us to approve Jill's online remote attendance?
Well, so Jill, the ways that you can get in through Just Cause are providing childcare or caregiving to a parent, grandparent, grandchild, sibling, spouse, or domestic partner, contagious illness that prevents you from attending in person, tending to a need related to a physical or mental disability, or traveling for business of the legislative body or another state or local agency.
So Jill, did you hear his list of options?
I was taking my son to the airport to go to Europe. And he's going to be gone for a month, so I had to drop him off myself.
Well, sure, let's say that that's providing childcare that requires the member to participate.
Okay.
And you don't need to vote, it's just cause, not emergency circumstances. And so, Jill.
So,
Thank you.
Good.
so
So, thank you.
So, John has given us his opinion that Jill can attend remotely with the just cause exception. Is there any comment regarding that? And Andrea, you had your hand up.
no, I mean, I want everybody to attend. It's just that, you know, then we can all use this occasionally and we don't have to post our address. That's really what it amounts to. So, and we don't have to get approval by the body. So, I mean, that's what we're really saying tonight. It's that we can all use this if we can find a way into these bullet points here that I provided. I actually gave a handout tonight. So, because it's my, you know, I had to post my address last year. So, I mean,
So
different bodies, I think, interpret this a little bit differently because, I mean, and I really want everybody to attend, but I think whoever's the chair, I don't think anybody should be able to just call the chair and the chair determines whether it's an emergency or just cause. I mean, how does that work? I mean, just because we're all being above board here on this, but, and finding a way so we can get
Let me
attendance.
interrupt. So I understand that you have some thoughts, but let's move on to the agenda item.
Okay, that's fine.
Jill is present. And so now we are agenda item. And that is
The agenda item
Brown
formerly.
Act pledge. It is the agenda item number 6 that has been moved to a new position. So is there a motion to vote on this agenda item?
Are we gonna have a discussion first?
Yes, first we have to have a motion and a second, and then we have a discussion. Is that correct? This is an action item. So first we have to get it on the table with a motion and a second.
Okay, so I'll make the motion that we put this agenda item up
Okay,
for discussion.
is there a second?
I'll second.
Okay. It's been, the motion been made and seconded. This, agenda item is now on the table. Is there somebody that, wants to comment on this? Jeff,
Is that what you need? So I've prepared an alternate letter that I'd like the board to consider, because I'm not sure that this specific letter is appropriate for the events that took place.
okay, I'm going to reject that, new, agenda document, because this one that we have has already been registered on 72 hours in advance. And I do not want to get into a new problem of voting on something that is not posted.
But this says discussion. This only says discussion.
Yeah.
And in numerous meetings I've been in, whatever the proposal was, the committee has been able to amend, alter, change any proposed document. That's just standard procedure.
It's called a friendly amendment, and then maybe, I don't know, might be kind of a big,
That is an amendment for discussion, maybe an amendment on many things, but not on a posted document. We're supposed to vote on the posted document.
Doesn't say that.
It's-
It says discussion.
it says discussion.
Okay, we can discuss yours. Okay,
Fine. So
so,
Mark, if you
but,
could put it, sorry,
but
go ahead.
Jeff, let's simplify matters and discuss what we were intending to discuss, and that is John's remediation letter.
My recollection is that we had discussed me providing an updated letter. And I had asked when you needed the updated letter for this meeting. And then I was told that you weren't going to put the letter on the agenda for action. And so I did not provide an updated letter. And so I'm not sure what letter it is that was agendized, but I'm not sure that it's ready for prime time. Because as we discussed, the facts that were set forth in the initial draft that I presented didn't match exactly everything that's gone. Am I remembering that incorrectly?
Yeah, I think your memory is incorrect. We've, at every meeting, we've had your draft cease and desist letter combined with a pledge. And that has been what we have been faced with for a number of months now. A few days ago, you contacted me and said, "Oh, shall I get you an amended pledge?" And I said, "No, I think we've moved beyond that." beyond needing a new pledge, we've got the ongoing existing pledge. Now, Mark, is the existing pledge John's original pledge posted on, as an attachment on this agenda?
Yes, it was.
Okay, so I'm not going to get into the weeds by entertaining some other pledge or document. If if you want to table this and take it up next month with a different pledge, I'm willing to do that.
Can I just read from this email exchange? On the 29th of May, I said, and this was to you and Mark, I know I still owe you a revised letter addressing the Brown Act. When do you need that by to include it on the agenda for the June meeting? And then you said, Mr. Palmer, thanks for the offer. I believe that we've moved on past the need for that letter.
Yes, for the revised letter, because we have the existing letter. We've never questioned whether your original cease and desist letter attached to the pledge, we've never even talked about it until Jeff brought it up just now.
No, that's not true. If you go back into April, we did talk about it, and in May, it came up again, I believe, when you wrote the 12-point letter draft letter to, and it was posted to John Palmer about things that our committee wanted to know, and I said, you posted that with no conversation, so it has been brought up, and so I think you ought to table it. I'm just gonna say.
And I'll be happy to, if you want to table it, Marcus, that's fine. You can table it till July.
Yeah, very good. So
But
we're,
Point of order, I thought we had a vote on the table and we were having a discussion, so are you withdrawing it then?
so the motion is to table this agenda item.
But we have, so, I'm very confused about what's going on. We had a first, we had a second, we have a discussion. And now we're having a tabling and now we're having another vote. I'm very confused.
Okay. Ben. can you
Point of
please-
order.
Please be patient with me. This is getting a little bit complicated, but I'm going to try to lead us the best I can. So we did have a motion and a second, and we have a amended motion to table it. So is there a second on the amended motion to table this agenda item?
I made the motion.
Yeah. Doesn't Jeff?
Oh, I did make the motion. Yes, I
So
said,
don't you have to amend your initial motion?
or I can accept the friendly amendment, right? I think I'm accepting a friendly amendment.
But you made them, right? So doesn't someone else have to make the friendly, make the amendment? I think it was you who.
I think Marcus made the amendment and I
I
accepted
made-
it. But that's how I interpret it. Yeah,
Is
to table
is
it till
there-
next month,
is
and I
there a
said-
second to my friendly amendment motion?
Yes.
Okay, so this item is tabled until next meeting.
Doesn't Andrea have to approve the friendly amendment because she seconded the initial motion?
No, I do not think so.
Which I don't think
Okay,
she
if we
does.
have a parliamentarian here, expert, I'm willing to receive advice about this, but I've read the Robert's rules and that doesn't seem to be correct, that what you just suggested.
I
So,
think you're correct, Marcus. It's that with the friendly amendment, since mine was the original one, if I accept it, I think it's fine.
We never even disputed.
now, John, are you a parliamentarian? In other words, you could give us some advice about the motion and the amended motion.
I think that you're fine.
Jeff can accept the friendly amendment and then you can vote. Okay, thank you. So moving on to the next agenda item.
Did you
Oh, we're going to vote. Okay, yeah, okay.
So the vote,
Everybody in favor of tabling this, this, Brown Act pledge discussion and vote, say aye.
Aye.
Okay. All opposed? Okay. The motion carries. Cole, I'd like you to explain your opposition.
Since I've been a member of this body, this conversation of the Brown Act has existed since before I became a part of this body, and I just feel that it has carried on for too long, and I would like to put it to rest as quickly as possible, so that it doesn't permeate further into even more meetings down the road.
Thank you. I think we all agree with that sentiment. But it will permeate into at least one more. Hopefully, that the next July meeting will be put to rest like a oak stake through the heart of Dracula.
Very illustrative. Thank you.
Okay, so next agenda item is new business. Is there a comment? Hearing none. We're going to the final agenda item, which is adjournment. I thank you all for being here. And hopefully we can be well organized for the next meeting in July and put this issue to rest. So Jeff, if you do have a amended pledge, and please send it to me
I'll
soon.
submit it to you.
And make sure that it is your final pledge, so that you don't send me one and then send me some other one a few weeks later.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
See you all.
thank you. Good night, everybody.
Thank you, good night.